Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Beverly. It's lovely to see you. I hope you'll stick around, like and subscribe and all of that cool stuff. Today we are talking Once Upon a Time. I have my notes. I know. I'm the note queen, but I have chronic illnesses that make me have bad memory, so I have to kind of do that, or else we're all screwed. So today I watched Once Upon a Time. I am bugging out. It was so good. But I will say I go into this very detailed. So if you've not yet watched the programme, please go watch it and then come back, because otherwise you're going to get spoiled and then you're going to come to me and I'm going to say, sorry, I warned you. So go on. I can see you at the back. I can see you. Go on. Come back after. Okay. So, we start out... no. Once Upon a Time. So, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought there was a lot of development with Ivy. A lot happened with her, as you all know if you've been watching all of these episodes. And there is a playlist. I will link down below and up above if I can figure out how. But yeah, you all know that I like Ivy. I'm a huge fan of Adelaide anyway, but Ivy, aka Drusilla, is just an incredible character and she had a lot of development in this episode. I also loved Sabine, aka Tiana. She really, there was a lot of history and everything involved, so let's get to it, shall we? So when it starts out, we see Victoria going to the mystery witch. I'm assuming she's a witch. Mystery in her little secret locked up room. Very reminiscent of Belle when she was locked up by Regina. Oh, hello, Mr. Gizmo. Just say hello to everyone. You watched it with me, didn't you? What did you think? Did you enjoy Once Upon a Time this week? Yes, I think you did. So... I really felt like Victoria's getting desperate. She knows, of course... Oh, a little bit out of frame. I'm sitting up a bit. There we go. You can see my Buffy the Vampire Slayer action figures. Hell yeah! So, I hate that she's trying to destroy Lucy's belief, but I do get the feeling that she's getting desperate. When it came to Weaver in the last episode, when he was like, I know who you are, dearie, that shook her up, and so she's getting desperate. She needs to break Lucy's belief before it infects everybody else. We've already seen the first episode that the garden started to flower. She needs to shut that down, and it's very obvious that she is feeling the pressure. I liked that, actually. I liked that she was feeling the pressure. I liked that she was, you know, struggling. She's the one who's brought on this new curse. We don't know why as yet, but I'm assuming it has something to do with Gold and Rogers, because both of them have got history with her. And so... we feel that kind of need, that, you know, I need to shut this down, I need to end this. And it felt very much like something that, you know, she needs to do fast. And so she's getting desperate, and I like that. I don't like the character of Victoria at all. Of course, I'm not supposed to, but I don't like her. The mystery woman is talking about tea a lot. I'm thinking she's somebody from Wonderland. Maybe the Cheshire Cat? I mean, we don't know, do we? She could be the Cheshire Cat. She could be the new Mad Hatter. She's a little bit out there, but maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Do you think she could be from Wonderland? I always find everything's got like a double meaning in Once Upon a Time, and I do think that's a little bit of a clue. So, I hope they bring Wonderland in more, because I love Wonderland. Yes. Do you want me to move my notes so you can sit down? Come on then, come and get on my lap. struggles of being a fur mom. There he is. I love bitchy Ivy, but Victoria being mean to Sabine and Jacinda just made me really angry. I don't like that. I already love those two characters. They're both strong women again. They both do a lot. Sorry, I'm having to readjust everything because the dog is now on my lap. I apologise. I love Sabine being like part of the family. At first I thought she was sisters with Jacinda. That's how close they are. And so seeing her close with Lucy was really nice. I really liked that. But then, you know, Victoria's gonna spoil it all the time. I know she has to. But raising the rent that much and knowing that there's no way they can pay for it is really another way to try and break their spirit. And you find a lot of bullies do this in real life and on screen, so it's no surprise really. I was really shocked when I saw Ivy in Tiana's story. Obviously they all intermingle. We'll see them all intermingle more as the series goes on. They always did in Once Upon a Time. But I didn't expect to see her picking over her things and being her normal bitchy self. I was just like, oh my gosh, there she is. She's off again. It really boosted me up. I was like, oh yeah, I know you. I know you. And the fact that she was picking over her things was interesting and very much made me feel like, okay, she's there. She doesn't want to buy anything. She's there just to kick it in. And again, that comes from learning from her mum. She's learnt this behaviour. She's always strived to be like her mum, to be the favourite, to take over from her sister. And I find that really sad. And yeah, it makes me really feel for her. So her then being bullying to somebody else to try and get her approval really said a lot to me. And I was like, yeah, I really feel for this girl. She needs to be saved. She needs to be saved. And that's the thing. A lot of people in the show are trying to help Jacinda and reach out to Jacinda and Tiana, but they're girls who can stand up for themselves, who are used to being on their own 2 feet, standing up for themselves, believing in themselves. They've been brought up to believe in themselves. They can do anything. Ivy, on the other hand, has been brought up with the opposite belief. That she is nothing if she doesn't get power herself. She's nothing compared to her sister. She's nothing compared to her mom. And so she has no self-belief, and because of that she's the one who needs saving, and yet nobody thinks that she does because she has this prickly outer shell. And I found that quite interesting. That kind of got my imagination, sparked my imagination very much. I did love seeing Rogers, of course. Hook has always been my favourite, even if this is Wish vs Hook. I don't care. I love any version of Hook at all. Full stop. Love them all. You can't change my mind. Just love him. And he's so dedicated to finding this missing girl. That really made me sad, because I was like, this guy has no life. When he said that he sometimes sits there and goes through, when it's quiet, he goes through her drawing book. And I found that incredibly hard to hear, because to me, he seems miserable. He seems sad. And I feel like Ronnie and Henry are his first 2 real friends that he's got in this world. You know, he's not had that. In this curse, he's been kind of left on his own. And I think that's probably because of whatever was hinted at in a previous episode, where he met up with Victoria and asked for the blood spell, and he said something like, oh, you owe me, or something like that. So I think it has something to do with the things he's done in the past for her, which is quite an interesting twist on it. So Henry getting advice off Ronnie was really interesting. I was like, that is so motherly, like her wanting to protect him. And it's funny how that kind of lioness with her baby came out, even though he's a grown-up, she doesn't know that that's her son. I found that really interesting, but I didn't like that she was, you need to stay away from Ivy. I know it's because she's trying to protect him, but on top of that, I just feel like if she's trying to keep him away from her, then she's not got any chance of having a friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of taking away her chance to have her own story told and not be just the bitchy daughter of Victoria. So I did feel a bit like, Ronnie, you need to step back and just not judge this girl so much. So that kind of made me feel a bit sad. But I did like that she was stepping up and trying to be motherly to him, and I liked his little comeback to her. But then on top of that, the moment he goes to the bathroom, she has to meddle. Meddle. We all know Regina always struggled with giving up power. She liked to be organised and in control. And this is another version of her, Ronnie, in the curse. But it definitely feels like she still needs to feel that control. Like she didn't hand over her bar in the first episode because she wants to have control. Even though it's going to be a struggle, even though Victoria's going to want revenge, she still needs to know that she's in control. And that was really an important step, I felt. I absolutely love Tiana and Jacinda together. They are very sisterly. They're very similar. They're fiery, and I think that's why later on in the episode they kind of fall out and they clash quite a lot. You find people who are similar, they get on, but then when they clash, they really clash. Do you know what I mean? So I found that really interesting. I hated that she spent the money that they needed. That really made me struggle. I was like, oh no, now what are you going to do? Victoria's going to win. Do you know what I mean? But I should have known these girls would have a plan. I should have known. I should have trusted. I love Roger's getting to just seeing that tattoo for a moment and being like, oh my gosh, that was in the storybook. That was in the sketchbook. He's a brilliant detective and I absolutely love that. I mean, obviously we've seen Hook is brilliant at finding people. He's brilliant as a police officer. He's great at tracking people and finding things because he's needed to as a pirate. And those skills that he's learned. There is a helicopter. I apologise. Those skills brilliantly come over into being a detective. He's doing really well. I love it. I feel this like pride. Oh, you do so well, my little baby. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure, like, one of my good friends, Kelly, she's a really big fan of Regina, and I honestly feel like she's probably feeling the same when it comes to Ronnie in this episode, because she loves Regina, so I can see her going like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I love that. So Jacinda is scared, but I love Jacinda kind of, how can I put this? She kind of gives in to the fear a lot. She doesn't stand up. She's a fighter, but I don't know if it's the curse or if it's just her personality that she kind of steps back, like she's a bit afraid. That's kind of interesting. Oh, Gizmo's just sitting here staring at me. I find that quite interesting that she's afraid to try new things. She doesn't want to step out of the boundaries, and I think that's probably a lot to do with growing up with Victoria as a stepmother. You know, she's beaten her down, she's made her into the little slave girl, and she doesn't feel like she has any power. And why would she? Because it's all been taken away from her. Even her child's been taken away from her, and she hasn't been able to do anything about it. That made me really sad. I definitely felt like I just wanted to help her. And then Sabine comes in like a hero with her great plan to make her pastries. I think they're pastries. They're like little cake things. I don't really know what those cakes are. I don't think we have them in England. If we do, I've not come across them, but they looked nice. So she talks her into cooking with her and baking with her and setting up a little pop-up shop, and I love that because it's getting their power back, and it's something that Victoria clearly is not going to like. Then we meet Dr. Facilia, and all this week we've kind of been teased about this character, Dr. Facilia. I've heard a lot about him. Like I say, I don't read spoilers, but I have seen things around. You can't help but see it around if you follow a lot of people. Like I'm on Tumblr, I follow a lot of Once Upon a Time fans, also on Facebook and places like that. You just can't help but get spoiled a little bit. So I've heard a lot about this character, but to see him being this powerful wizard who's like a bit of a con man, he has magic, he's into voodoo and stuff, like I just love all that. I love it. That's what I loved about True Blood, all the like voodoo and stuff like that. I found it really interesting to see, so I was very much into that, to see all that. I thought it was really cool, and the way he was reading the bones and stuff. If you are a follower on my channel, subscriber I mean, I do videos about my path as a psychic, and this kind of just slips right in there, it's definitely interesting to me, although I don't think I would ever do that kind of thing. It's still interesting to see it on TV. It's quite interesting. I really don't like Victoria shutting out Ivy. However, I definitely felt like the more she shuts her out, the more Ivy's going to want to step out and be the enemy to her. And she's going to go to Henry and the others, and maybe they'll accept her better and bring out the good in her. And I was definitely like cheering her on, like, yes, be horrible to her, because then she's going to come back and she's going to be a better person. And I was definitely shouting at the screen because I'm crazy like that. Yes. I didn't like Ronnie judging Ivy at all. I'm very protective of characters that I love, as you may have noticed, and I did not like that at all. I was like, leave her alone. You judge her now and push her out now, and she's going to go back and she's going to be the evil one. You want her to be on your side. And I definitely felt like Ronnie needs to stop judging, but that's her character. She doesn't trust anybody, and I'm sure in the future we'll find out why Ronnie specifically doesn't trust anybody. I'm sure there's stories behind that, which would be quite interesting. So then we see Ronnie taking the phone, replying to the message, pretending to be Henry, and deleting the messages so Henry would never know. That really made me mad. I really hate invasions of privacy, and that definitely comes under that. I don't like to think of anybody taking somebody else's power, taking somebody else's decisions away from them and trying to control them. I don't like that. And so to see her doing that, even though, you know, she is his mother, they don't know that at this point. So her doing that, it could greatly just ruin their relationship, and that makes me really sad. I don't want that to happen at all. I love Jacinda and Sabine doing well, being happy, cooking. There's people queuing to get their pastries, and I absolutely love that. I really like seeing them succeeding and being close to each other, and it just really made me happy. And I was doing a little happy dance, as you do. I really liked Tiana in the tavern, but did anybody else sit there going, oh please let Robin Hood pop up? Little Sean Maguire behind, polishing a glass behind the thing would have just finished it off for me. I would have screamed. That would have been a really good little Easter egg surprise. I would have loved that. I really want him back. Can we have Robin Hood back, please? Please? There has to be a way. I love that Rogers is so determined in that scene as well. I love that he's like doing anything to get information for this girl. He wants to help her and save her. I have a suspicion that the girl is his daughter, aka is Tilly / Alice. That whole thing just makes my brain hurt, but I'm good with that. Or they're bringing in Rapunzel, which would also be cool. So I'm cool with any of that kind of thing. When I saw the fire, I immediately thought, that's Victoria. Just within moments of seeing that fire in the kitchen. I mean, that's taken down Jacinda's only means of paying the bills, and it's taken out their small pop-up business and ruined both of their faiths straight away in moments. And I honestly felt at that moment Victoria was winning, and it really angered me. I was like, no! Really angered me. I loved hearing more about Tiana's backstory when she was with the prince in the castle. But I hate that she was opening up to this guy and then he was going to steal from her. Even though he had good reason for it. Oh, it just really got to me because she hadn't opened up to anyone. And I know a lot of that is because she's naive, etc, etc. But it still just really riled me up. I was like, don't hurt her. I get very into this. I don't know if anyone's noticed. So I absolutely love that Tiana is so kind and wants to help others. Even though he turned on her, she's still like going out of her way to help him and going back and putting herself in danger with Dr. Facilier. That was really sweet. And I loved the scene with her mother when she was talking about that we need to help people, we need to do more to help the people out there. It just shows how kind-hearted she is, and I absolutely adored that. Ivy's been abused her whole life, and I just hated Ronnie turning on her. I just really, really hated that. But when they were in the room, Ronnie found something, and I was like, what did she find? What was that picture? It was very reminiscent of when Hook found the picture in the book, and he was like doing the dramatic look away thing that they do, and I was like, what did he find? And it was the same thing here. I was like shouting at the screen, did anybody else do that? Because I think Ivy would do better if she had Ronnie in her corner fighting for her. She's never had that. People have always like assumed that she could stand up for herself, and she can't. So I really hope that her and Ronnie get together and get to trust one another. I love Lucy trying to get Sabine to stay. She's always trying to help, like Henry. Very cute little girl, and I love that she's so similar to Henry in so many ways when he was a child. Their upbringings were very different, but they've still got that similar, just wanting to help everyone. I really like that. I think it's so sweet. Dr. Facilier is powerful and evil, but I really feel like Tiana is such a badass. She's not going to let him win. I love that she pulled out her sword and was just like, no, you're not going to win. Even if you've got magic, I'm going to find a way. And she did. She stole the frog, and she's making the happy ending happen. I mean, even though it didn't happen like she thought it was going to happen, it was still really lovely. I loved Jacinda taking a chance to help Sabine, and I love that Detective Rogers helped get the truck, because it just shows that if he opens up, if he trusts people, then he can have friends as well. And I really like that, because he was so miserable at the start of the thing, talking about when it's quiet. You know, usually you spend time talking with your friends or whatever, and he hasn't got that at work. He hasn't got anybody, so I really liked that. I thought it was really sweet. So I hope that they all become friends. Tiana is such a lovely role model. I just think she's amazing. If I had a little girl, I'd be like, you want to be like this. You want to be like Princess Tiana. She is amazing. Standing up for herself. It was funny when she went and he kissed the frog and he was a frog as well as her. I really liked that twist. It was really funny. And she was just like, well, they'll be happy. Bye. It just didn't faze her. She was like, oh, well, you'll be happy anyway. Either way, it's good. Continue. Sabine and Rogers. I just love that they knew that it was Victoria that set the fire. They knew it. They're not pulled in by her rubbish. And I really feel like Rogers and Sabine might even team up to try and bring down Victoria. He might bring them into his little band of Three Musketeers, which will echo them before the curse as well, which would be really sweet. I would love to see that. I cannot stand seeing Victoria putting Ivy down. She's really horrible to her in this episode. And it just really got to me so bad. I was like, this is just beyond belief. I can't take it. She was being really mean, really cutting her down. Hated it, hated it. And then we find out that Ronnie had found a picture of her and Henry in Storybrooke. Like, where would Victoria have even got that from? She wasn't in Storybrooke. She wasn't part of that curse. So where did she get the picture from? That blew my... I was like, I need more of that. Where it came from, how it happened. I want to know everything right now. It just really got me. And I absolutely love that last scene. That last scene where Ivy had set up the whole thing with the witch in the spare room in the secret room where she's locked away. And she's teamed up with the witch against everyone because nobody trusts her. Nobody's standing up for her. So she's going to be her own winner. And I absolutely love that. And then on top of everything, she's one of the few with her memories. Oh yeah. So now there's only Drusilla and Weaver, as far as we know, have the oh, and Tilly. But Victoria gives her medication to keep her shutting up. So that was a really big twist this week, and it really just blew my mind and made me so happy. I loved that. So what was your best favourite part of the whole episode? For me, it was all Ivy and Hook. I love that. Oh, and Tiana. I love Princess Tiana. She's amazing. Amazing. Love her. So I'm just going to say now that I loved this episode. I did. I'm really enjoying this series. I know it's kind of split the fandom in two. People are watching it just so they can put it down. People are watching it or are refusing to watch it. But those of us that have come to it with an open mind are really enjoying it. And I'm so thankful. I hope that we continue, get a few more seasons, because I would not be angry about that. I am loving it. So, yeah, there you have it. I hope you will all come back next week. We'll be talking about the next episode. And, of course, hopefully, if I'm well enough, I will do my own experiences with spirits in the week. And I also am going to try curling my hair in a vintage way for the first time. So that will be coming your way as well. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of the fun. And I will see you all next time. Bye!